That's where we are right now, fam, and like everyone in the crew is just like tunnel vision. It's family, it's what we care about, or nothing. Like literally, there is no money that record labels can offer us no more. It's dead. It's no point.
Since Grime's inception of the early garage days, artists throughout the world have been taking a liking to the innovative grime MCs. Now, at the time of editing of this video, Spotify had just announced grime as its own separate category. Finally, especially considering the past couple of years have been drawing in millions of new grime listeners, and something that I thought should have been implemented years ago, even before the resurgence in 2014. This is only a start to the progress that artists can cut out in a path to success by creating whatever it is you truly want to create. Really, if you think you cannot do something, just look at Wiley or Dizzy, Lethal B, Kano, Skepta, JME, Chip, Frisco, DEE, Tinchy, and so many more, all of whom have had a passion for writing and creating music that was considered to be against the grain and nowhere to become a successful music artist in the early 2000s. And now look where we are. Now their shows are better off than they were years ago, with the police filing Form 696s and shutting the shows down for no reason. And their sales are going up heavily with the recent praise. It's all positive growth from here on out from the genre. From Drake to Kanye to A$AP Rocky and the Mob, grime has seen growth with incredible and motivated figures in the scene. From Kano to Wiley to all the other artists I named previously, all of these artists were grinding out rhythms on pirate radio when there was essentially no platform for the genre at all. Years later, and you look at the events that have transcribed in the past couple of years. Drake's playlist, More Life, had an unequivocal influence drawn from the sounds coming out of the UK. Individuals such as Skepta, Giggs, Dave, Section Boys, and Georgia Smith, among others, had on Drake's More Life was astonishing, and as a fan of grime, although not all of them were grime artists, I was absolutely thrilled to see their influence shape the scope of the project's sound. Now, Kanye's performance at the 2015 Brit Awards with BBK, Fecky, Stormzy, and Krypton Conan spread the genre to a mass amount of new listeners, yet had drawn in a massive debate of whether the performance made grime look like the puppets of Kanye, or somehow metaphorically for the US hip-hop scene, or even that it actually helped spread the culture at all. Regardless, it without a doubt put eyes onto the scene, especially those who were on stage with Kanye at the time. Now, Kanye's stamp produced a smooth revitalization for grime listeners, and artists with even Hattie Collins, who was a longtime grime journalist and listener among many other things, where she had admitted that for a few years before 2014, there seemed to be a bleak atmosphere within grime. Many grime artists took their opportunity to create music outside of the genre, which seemed to dishearten many grime fans at the time to the future of where the sound was going to go, but nonetheless we are here today. Many know the influence that hip-hop has had on many genres, especially grime, but what about grime and hip-hop? Of course, the first hip-hop artists broke through with a genre, but their platform was more developed than grime's was at the time. And it is where the influence of a genre like grime has seen the artists taking a liking for these MCs in the past couple of years. They present a unique sound and a voice to the hip-hop scene in the US. Many artists throughout the genres are influenced by hip-hop artists, especially grime MCs respectively, considering its sound and rhythmic makeup. Yet with grime's development, where has their influence developed with the hip-hop scene throughout the world? Now let's set the facts straight. Grime is not a subgenre of hip-hop. Its early influences stem from various of other genres such as reggae, dancehall, drum and bass, and many more, but sure, there are definitely influences from hip-hop. I just don't think they stem as primary as the ones that I listed. And for those who believe grime has not been around for a long time, well, you should know it has been around since 2002, when Wiley, Dizzy Rascal, and DJ Slimzy were spinning decks, having each of them spar against each other, which is the bare bones of the sport of grime, in which I touched on earlier, according to building the genre's platform. One of the earliest influences I think grime has on hip-hop without much of a thought are from the earlier days of grime freestyling, which were written where hip-hop, at the time of grime's inception, kinda looked down upon pre-written freestyles. Yet we all know they still kinda happened. Years down the road, most freestyles in hip-hop became pre-written, and eventually most fans did not mind it, until it came to the recent years when a lot of the songs you hear from rappers are actually being freestyled with no or little effort of differentiating their lyrics from their last song, or even try to search for an experimental sound or rhythm. It's essentially rinse and repeat. But hey, you do you. And that is literally the mentality of grime artists, because they started when people looked at the artist going on pirate radio as a road to no or little success, because all of the money was in rap, until years later when Wiley, Dizzy, and Lethal B showed that grime artists were able to go against the grain and be successful. The liking to the extent that many large name US rappers took to grime artists helped build a bridge for not only the grime platform, but for UK rappers as well. While BBK, Chip, Bugsy, and others were growing, the UK rap scene was seeing a whole new light at the end of the tunnel. Sure, some beefs ensued, but all of the UK were receiving more support than ever, and surely grime is a major part of that reason as to how American listeners were connecting to the new sounds from rap across the seas as well. Now the young MCs birthing a new sound such as Dave, AJ Tracy, and Novelist among others, despite being veteran spitters, are pushing the culture to new heights and new areas. Eventually, you may see some American artists carrying very similar flows to grime artists on a 140 BPM beat. The musical community is also highly intertwined with high fashion, so there's no doubting that with the growth of grime and UK hip-hop, that their fashion influences spread to the states, such as the tracksuits. Nonetheless, we are talking about music, I just thought I would throw that in there, but it does present the interesting topic of how the artists from America are taking a liking to the grime artists, then everyone from America starts talking like the Mandem from the UK. It's going to be interesting to see how the genre will evolve from here and how younger artists will come into the game while the veterans are continuing their legacy and building the history that one day our children and grandchildren will be asking about. Music as a whole has come a long way, and grime has only been in a small percentage of that history, but I am sure it will grow a lot bigger and be even more experimental. Who knows where it will go years from now? I think a lot of the grime producers have a ton to offer, as well as the young MCs following what they want to truly make.